Welcome to the Finding the Magic podcast, where books come alive. I'm Tricia Copeland, a fiction author and host of this show. If you love books, finding great reads, and hearing about the story behind the story directly from the authors, this is the place for you. Whether you like fantasy, science fiction, dystopian, or romance titles, I think you'll find something to love in my playlist. Listen in to discover something magical about a book or two today. Welcome to the Finding the Magic podcast. I'm so excited today because I have my good friend and fellow author Rose Garcia here with me. Yay!
I'm here. I'm so excited.
I know it's been way too long, Rose. We were talking. We almost spilled everything like on our private conversation before. I was like, wait, stop. We have to start recording.
I know. We were just talking all about a million things.
And I have followed your books and I absolutely love your stories. But give us a broad overview and then dig deep into where you are right now.
Okay, gosh, where do I begin? So, for those that are new to me, I'm Rose Garcia. I write young adult fantasy, and I am from Houston, Texas. And what else? What else? What else? So I'm all over the place with what I'm doing. So right now I have focused on my Fae Bloodline series. And my Fae Bloodline series is 4 books. It's Fae Away, Fae Fractured, Fae Hunted, Fae Rising. And it's about a Fae princess who discovers a deadly palace secret that forces her to cross into the forbidden human realm to seek the aid of a very gorgeous human. But he is not an ordinary human. He comes from a long line of Hispanic healers with their own special powers. And he gets entangled in her quest of discovering what is going on in her kingdom and how it impacts the human realm. So it's kind of like this big collision of the Fae and the human realm. So that's my Fae Bloodline series. And now I am doing a sequel series called Bloodlines Legacy. And this is about their descendants. And the first book is A Storm Rises, and it just came out last month in January. And this is about a deadly royal hunt where a low-born half-fae is allowed to compete on behalf of his impoverished province, and a high-born royal princess is sent into the hunt to sabotage him. So yes, it is an enemies to lovers. It features a lot of danger. My lowborn half-fae is angry because he and his province, they're considered like, lesser class. And many of them have human blood. So he hates royals and he hates the full-blooded fae because they hate the half-blooded. So it's kind of like this bloodlines, that's called Bloodlines Legacy, because they're, they are always at odds. And the series is about the quest of these two bloodlines and how are they ever going to come together. So it's just book 1 that came out, and I'm super excited about my future books. Right now it's planned for 3 books.
Oh, fine. I can't wait to read it because I was getting confused about the last book I read, which I think was the last one in the Fae.
Bloodlines, yeah.
The first one is the Fae Bloodlines, right? So I think the last book of yours I read is it Fae Rising was the last one?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so that's the last one I read with the, can I say who the main character is?
Yeah,
No?
Gabriella and Lee.
Yeah, because she is the daughter of the Fae from the beginning, right?
Yes.
And is she going to star? Is Gabriella going to star in Bloodlines Legacy, or we don't know yet, or?
So there's a big time jump,
Okay.
but I do have a prologue at the beginning of A Storm Rises where you see Gabriella and you see Leaf.
Okay.
And you get to see what their life is like. And you get to see them, but then the story, chapter 1, is about their child.
Okay, so we got two generations from the initial Fae Bloodline series. Okay,
Yes.
so this is a whole new set of characters. I am so excited to read it.
Yeah, so I wanted to start with all new characters, but I do have a couple of people that are key that are part of my Bloodlines legacy. So you get to see them, and because Fae are immortal.
Okay, I was about to ask, tell me about your Fae, because my Fae in my books are not immortal. They live shorter lives than humans.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mhm.
So mine are immortal, but they can be killed, and so they can die. And with all of these wars and battles that are going on, there are people that are just, kind of dropping from the storyline. So I do have someone who is still a big part of the series. And I don't want to give anything away because I have so many surprise twists in this book and surprise reveals in this book. And I'm just I just don't want to give anything away.
No, I don't blame you. I'm excited to read it because I know that I bought it, and I had a release. That's why I haven't read it. So I apologize for that.
I know you've been so busy with your book.
I know. So okay. But where do your Fae? Tell us more about your Fae. Where do they live?
Okay, so they live in Favenly, and Favenly is a realm that overlays the human realm. So the landscape looks a lot like the United States, because that's where my Fae live, just over the United States. It's, kind of like I compare it to, well, my character Manny compares it to an Oreo. So you have the Faes up here, the humans down here, the cookie, and then in the middle is the dividing thing that I call the stratus,
Okay.
where all the shimmers are.
Okay.
And sometimes they will fall, and that is what becomes a portal into the different realms from the
Very
stratus.
cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. And they
Yeah.
call them the Shimmer Fae. Some people call them the Shimmer Fae. Is that correct?
Well, I don't really know if anyone calls them the shimmer phase,
Oh, maybe I
because
made that up in my head.
I call the portal shimmers
Okay.
because they are shimmery. They're like shimmery balls, but you can stretch them out into like doorways. You can actually like manipulate them. And then you can make them really small and put in your pocket.
Ooh,
Yeah, so that's
very
cool.
handy.
Yeah.
Well, our brains must sort of think alike with Fae, or maybe this is a common thing. So my Fae live in Middle Earth, which is below the humans. So their Earth mirrors human Earth, but it's underneath the surface of the Earth instead of like above in the sky. So we kind of did the opposite thing.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
I think our Fae should meet. That should be a goal.
That would be super cool,
And I was
right?
gonna say it would be cool, but my Fae, when they come up in the human world, they do live longer than humans, so that is a difference. But in their realm, they live shorter because of the additional, um, what am I gravity, and if like
Oh,
in the human realm they have like vampire powers because there's not as much gravity, but in their realm they have normal human power. So,
that's cool.
do your Fae have wings?
They do not.
Not. Okay.
They do not have wings, but I do have, like, in my series, I do have pixies. I do have Imbar, which are the really fast horses, and they can travel and run over water. They don't fly, but they're super, super fast. And then the thing that I have in my A Storm Rises, that my new book is, they go into this hunt, right? And the prey is called a shadow blood fox. And it's a fox that has kind of like vampiric abilities. Like it will like want to bite you and like suck your blood. So they're hunting that, and they're crafty and they're fast. And then I have a wolf, not a shifter, just a wolf, like a really powerful wolf. And then I have a dragon. I have a dragon that makes an appearance in my hunt, and they're going to be much bigger in my second book. So I have a lot of really cool animals. I have elk. I just have a lot of cool things.
That sounds really fun. And
Yeah.
and remind me, your fae are the fae that can't lie. Is that correct?
They cannot, but they're super manipulative, like most fae. So they don't have to lie. They're crafty. What
They're
about yours?
crafty.
Yeah. What about yours?
No, mine are more like angels, I think. So they have wings
Oh,
and they can lie, but they don't often lie because they live a simpler life. I think from reading your books, I think I remember our worlds are the same in that like they don't have electricity or the internet or TV or the telephones or anything like that. So it's more of a Middle Ages type realm, and they like it that way. Like they can see the human world and see all the technology that the humans have, but they are just fine by themselves having their little carts and wheels and carriages and horse-drawn carriages and things like
yeah. So I like that because that's like pure fantasy. That's like
that.
epic fantasy feel. So my fae, when I start out my fae away, fae bloodlines, there's a big separation because they don't interact with humans at all, unless somebody finds a shimmer, which is what happens in book one.
Okay.
Otherwise, they're living their own life. They know that the human realm exists, but they are forbidden from getting any shimmers to travel to the human realm. It is forbidden. And all of the shimmers that are left in Favenly are stored at a lake. So they're kind of like drifting over this water, but it's guarded. Nobody can touch them. So when my Fae princess Celeste finds one, it's like, oh my gosh, I found a shimmer. And she's so excited because she's always been curious about the human realm.
And if I remember correctly, there's some kind of backstory that the Fae and the humans used to get along and live together, but then there was some fracture, and that's when they separated from the humans. Did you ever tell us what happened? Did you ever go back and tell that backstory?
Well, yeah, and the backstory is pretty simple. So there was a time where they were able to travel back and forth, but then the humans wanted to take over. They wanted to take over Favenly. And so there was some fighting, and then the Fae decided that they were just going to get rid of all the humans, which they did, and store away all of the shimmer portals, which they did. And then they put a glamour in the water system so that the humans would not remember anything about the Fae realm.
Okay, interesting.
Yes, so that's what they don't know anything. Like it never happened.
Right.
But the
Okay. Well,
Fae
that's very
remember.
yeah, that's yeah, yeah. And maybe I read it and maybe I just forgot what happened. So thank you for updating me on that Faye history.
Yeah, it was a very quick thing. And then, sometimes I wonder, should I go back and do that prequel story? And maybe I will, just to show how it all went down. That would be really cool. But right now, I'm still on my storyline that goes all the way back to my princess who finds the shimmer and ends up falling in love with her human and discovering all this stuff. And so I'm still like working on that storyline. And in this series, my new series, it's all set in Favenly. It's not a portal fantasy at all.
Okay.
There are no more shimmers.
Oh.
Yeah, they were all destroyed at the end. I'm just giving away everything. They were all destroyed at the end of Fae Rising. So
Okay, so I didn't remember that either. It's been too
yeah.
long since I read it.
Yeah, so that's like no more because they just wanted a clean separation because it was just too much.
Okay. And remind me, or maybe this is too much of a spoiler, but did the evil guy get killed in the end? Okay, I can
Okay.
remember. I need to go back and read the last book and then start the first book of Bloodlines Legacy so I can like remember everything that happened.
Yeah. I mean,
Definitely.
at the end of the day, when you're writing fantasy, good always wins
Right.
at
Right.
the end of the day. And so you just have to see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, I might have to take some notes on how you kill. Maybe I do remember that. I might have to take some cliff notes because I have an evil witch slash now other being. I won't give that away. That needs to be killed. I have to figure out how to kill them.
So many cool ways to kill an evil witch.
Well, yeah, she's much more than that now, unfortunately. So we'll figure it out though. I'm sure my character can figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, I love that when you are writing your story and you like box yourself in and you're like, how am I going to get out of this?
I know.
How is my character going to defeat this person? Or how is my character going to get out of this situation? I love that.
Yeah, and I made the evil person so powerful now that it's going to be very challenging, I think. So
That's
we'll see what
good.
happens
Yeah.
with that.
I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
and
Love
I
it.
was the only reason I wrote a prequel in my series was that it got to a point where I felt like you needed to know like the back history of the evil villain and why she was so evil, right? Or why yeah, so that's the only reason I did the prequel. So I can understand like wanting to follow your plot line and go because I'm sure as soon as I read the next book and be like, okay, Rose, when is the book coming out? I'm ready.
Wow. You know what? I'm telling you right now, why do I do this to myself? There is a, I mean, there's a resolution to the hunt. There's a resolution, but then I end it like I do with most of my books on this big cliffhanger.
Yeah,
Ooh,
authors we love to hate, but I do the exact same thing. Yeah. So
yeah,
and some people love it and some I haven't done it in every single book, but I want the storyline to continue. So you kind of need a lead into like what
yeah,
the next challenge or mission is gonna be, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And nothing is ever simple in fantasy. Nothing's ever simple.
No. But that's the fun in it. Like if I knew exactly everything that was gonna happen in my next book, I wouldn't have as much fun writing it. Are you the same way?
Oh, yeah, for
Like,
sure.
do you plot out each chapter and know what's going to happen in each chapter, or you just kind of know the beginning and end and make it up in the middle?
So, I have learned a lot recently about my own writing style. It's like I feel like I'm still learning how I write. And so with this book, I had a fantastic critique partner that I worked with, and he is like a student of writing. He's a student of the craft. And he was always trying to tell me all these things, right? He was like educating me as we were working together. And he gave me some really great validation. And he said, because I'm a pantser with big ideas. Like I want thing to happen, this thing to happen, this thing to happen. And then I know what I want my final thing to be. So I have these big ideas, but I pants my way to them. And so he said to me, because I always kind of felt a little bit like, I don't want to say guilty, but I always felt like I needed to outline more. And his advice was you can pants as much as you want if you outline backwards.
Okay, yeah.
And I was like, what? What do you mean? He said, just pants your way, and then you have to stop and you have to write your outline of what you just wrote so that when you're on chapter 10 and you want to like carry your threads through, You have it. You have your outline. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's genius. How come I never like thought about that? Have you thought about that?
Well, I talked to an author and she blew me away. I mean, she has like a staff of 10. Katie Cross. Have you read her
Yes.
stuff? Oh my
Yes.
gosh. She has a staff of like 10 people behind her. She writes a book a month. And every single scene is documented in an Excel document so that when all her editors go back and fact check is all these plot elements and characters aligning with what they were before, they have every single scene in that Excel document and they can go back to it right away and see, is this in line with what we wrote before? That blew me away. I said, wow, that is super organized. But I mean, the other thing about pantsing is you have to make sure whatever scene you're coming up with gets you to where you want to be, right? But I am usually my most creative. Like in one scene, I had a character and he was marked by one of the witch lines and he wasn't going to be able to escape them. Like physically he would die if he went too far away from their castle or whatever. And I was like, how am I gonna get this guy out of this? Like, and
Yeah.
literally in the shower, I came up with this whole like way that he could
Yeah.
remove this. It was like a tattoo on his arm, but it was connected to his soul, and how he was going to be able to get this out of his body so that he could actually leave and be free from this witch line. So, yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah. So when you come up with those, you have the freedom to come up with all these things because you haven't boxed yourself into a forward outline. You just have your back outline. And like Katie, I mean, that's genius. And that is kind of what I have learned to do because when I got down to like my final chapters, I had to go back and look at all of the outline that we had done going backwards. And so I was able to see all my thread. He calls them threads. Now I call them threads. And also the little things that they say. And it has changed the way I think about writing, and it has changed the way that I'm gonna continue my writing. So he was such an amazing critique partner, and I love him dearly. And now I'm critiquing his book, and I'm having so much fun with his, but he's outlined it out the wazoo. So I'm doing like like I go in and I tell him, well, this doesn't work with this, or this doesn't work with that, because it's a different style of critiquing that he does and that I do.
Right.
I
Yeah.
needed what he offered and he needs what I'm offering. So
Yeah, that's a great partnership. Yeah, because I think if I outline that detail, number one, I get bored, and number two, I would end up changing it because I would say, "Oh no, I don't like that for this character," or yeah, I would
exactly.
end up changing it anyway.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
fun. This is
Yeah.
so fun to talk to you and catch up. Like it's been way too long since you've been on my show, and we caught up. I think it's like 2020 or 2021. I don't even remember. It
My
was too long ago.
gosh. Was it that long ago?
You might have, because it wasn't,
Oh
I
my,
know it wasn't last year, so maybe it was 22, but it's been a long time. So I'm very excited.
I mean, that just goes to show how fast time is going. It's
Yeah,
like, what the heck? Ooh, time, slow down. I mean,
definitely
it goes
needs
by
to, so we
fast.
have more writing time, right?
Yes, I just wanted to slow down, but it's not going to slow down.
So do you know the title for your next book? Are you revealing that yet? Or do you
It's
know can you tell us anything about it?
it's called A Dance of Airs. Yes, airs, Heirs.
I assumed that, yeah.
Yeah, and so I have this scene in A Storm Rises where my characters go to the ball, and it's this big ball the night before the hunt. And the dancing scene is like, wow, I just loved writing that. Her dress and the way he looks, and he's like, he's an angry lowborn half fae. He's angry, but he's very intrigued with her. But he knows that she is trying to sabotage him. He just knows it. Like inherently, he knows she's up to something. So their dance is like, wow. So when I was trying to come up with a title, I'm like, A Dance of Airs.
I get chill bumps you just talking about that.
Yeah, because now they're in these positions and now they have to figure out like what to do, like how to interact. So it's like a deadly dance.
Interesting. Yeah, because I feel like Favenly is like, well, at the end of say Bloodline, like it seems like it was all chaos and all the different kingdoms were gonna have to be rebuilt, and you didn't know who to trust and who was like on the up and up and who was trying to do the right thing, because some of the kingdoms had enslaved humans and there was a lot of things going on. So it seems like there needs to be a lot of healing and restructuring going. Are we there yet?
Yeah, so that's, you kind of see that happen at the end of Fae Rising.
Obviously need to read
Where
it again.
Yeah, no, that's okay. But at the very, very end, there's a prophecy that comes to Gabriella in her dream. And so it's this prophecy that becomes the big prophecy in Bloodline's legacy.
Okay.
Because she doesn't want to believe it. She's like, no, no, no. We've gone through all of this and we have accomplished a lot. That prophecy is not going to happen. I don't even
Okay.
want to think about it. And so it kind of picks up with the fact that just some things take a lot harder to accomplish.
Okay. Something evil this way comes, or something wicked this way comes, I'm thinking. Sounds very ominous, but obviously I don't remember that last one. So sorry for that.
No. I mean, it was a while ago. And so, I mean, I barely remember it myself. I had to read all, those books before I started A Storm Rises. I'm like, okay, I need to remember all of this stuff because that was my pantsing days and I don't have my outline. So what I did when I was reading those books is I put together a style sheet. So I have like all of my characters and when they appeared and what they did, just like a list. So yeah, I mean, I had to go back and read and I just like, I don't know, you reread your books, right? Sometimes when you're
Yeah,
it's
and I'm so lucky that I have audiobooks because
oh, that's right.
I know, yeah, I can listen to them in the car, and I love like, yeah, I just re-listened to to be a Fae Legend, which was the most recent Fae book, and I'm writing the next one. So I just listened to all of that, and I had forgotten some stuff. So I was really glad. I was like, oh yeah, I need to run that storyline through to make sure all this is right.
Exactly. So that's hard. That's hard to do, which is another reason why it's just, when you start a new series and you have a time jump, you're not exactly tied to some of that stuff. You do have to explain some of it. Some of it needs to be understood, right?
Right.
So one of the things that I did was in A Storm Rises, my character writes a letter to her unborn child. And at the beginning of each chapter is one or two lines from the letter.
Oh, neat. I like that.
So as you're reading, so you read the header and you're like, what's that? But then you read the story and then you keep reading, you're like, oh my gosh, that's the letter.
Oh, neat.
And so when I get to chapter, I don't know what it is, 20 something, 22, 23, where the letter is actually given to my character and it's read in its entirety. So I have like the whole letter in that chapter.
Oh, neat.
And you get to see the character open it and read it and have all these emotions and feelings. And it basically, the letter is a little bit of a summary of Fae bloodlines.
Okay.
Because my character is like, here are some things about your past that you need to know about your family, about your
Right.
bloodline.
Well, that was an interesting way of like weaving in the past and showing the readers as well as the character, like what's going to be important or what was important and why all these things happen. So I like that.
Yes, and it took me forever to get that letter down because I didn't want to over explain anything. I didn't want to give away a lot of things, but I just wanted, and I had to put myself in the shoes, right, of the mother. Okay, I want my child to know our struggles and how we are where we are. And so I kind of had to like just think like, have that mindset.
Right. That's so neat. I love it. Well, I can't wait to read the book now. And obviously, reiterate, I need to reread the last one, but I will. That is next on my
I need to catch up on all of my reading. I need to read yours and your new one.
My
Your
new
romance.
romance.
Yes, your romance.
Yes, it is a contemporary romance. It's the first time I've written like enemies to lovers. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is the big thing. I wrote third person point of view. I've never done that before.
Hey.
I know. It's a big skill jump, right? Or at least,
Yeah.
do you write in first person or do you write?
I've done both. I've done
You've done
both.
both?
And so I went ahead with A Storm Rises, and it's in third person.
Okay, third
But it's
person.
deep third, so it feels very much like first. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So this does too, but at least I was able to get to the both protagonist viewpoints because I really wanted the viewpoint or the, I guess, emotions of the male character, the love interest, to come over too. So that's why I kind of switched to third person. That was the first one for me, and it's been well received. So I was really excited because I was nervous about that. But of course, my editor wouldn't let me go wrong. So
Yeah.
that's
How
what you
fun.
get. Yeah, so it was fun. And office romance. It's an adult, but clean, closed door romance. So I don't get too spicy there.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah. Nice. That's exciting.
Now I'm back to writing the next book in the Fae series. So we're gonna be doing lots of Fae, and hopefully we talked a little bit before, so hopefully we might have some surprises for both of our audiences, which might be fun.
Yeah. Very exciting.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and it's not going to be as long next time. The next
No, this is perfect. Yeah.
is like later this year. I mean, long between when I talk to you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we need to do this more often for sure.
Right, that's what I meant. So when your next book comes out, you'll come back and we'll get an update.
Yeah, I would love that. Just
Fun
to
time.
see you. Yes.
Okay, tell everybody where we can find you.
rosegarciabooks.com. Just go there to my website. You can see all my links, all my social media, and follow me wherever you like.
Nice. Well, we will stalk you and we will get your book and we will look forward to the next one.
Yay. Thank you, Trisha.
Thank you for being here. Bye.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Finding the Magic podcast. I'm your host, author and podcaster Trisha Copeland, and I love getting behind the scenes. If you like the podcast, make sure to subscribe and stop in each week to discover new authors and books. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep finding the magic.